Welcome back to Queer Christian Family Values, QCFV, for another podcast. I'm your co-host, Alex Burchnell, and then we got Andrew Cox here today. We
Hello.
are back for a solid season 2. You guys have just listened, I'm hoping, to all 3 of our pre-launch series leading up to this, and today is really kind of I don't know if you want to call it like a episode 0 or whatever, but we're going to go into some reintroductions of who we are, what we've done, all that other stuff. But real quick, I want to remind you of how to support the show. Make sure you subscribe to all the things like our YouTube, our Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and specifically our podcast, because that is our main focus. It's our baby at the moment.
Yes.
I think Andrew's like the biggest cheerleader for it, right? And then we've got our Patreon, which is patreon.com/QCFE. By subscribing there, you get 3 different levels of different perks that you can get. You get all the fun stickers and outtakes, bloopers. There was one recently that we added of Andrew playing with his kids' toys that was somehow made it in there. So
That's a thing?
That's a thing. It's in our Patreon. I was scrolling through and it somehow made it into an outtake.
You're kidding.
Don't worry about it. It's fine.
Oh, fun. That's nice. Okay, whatever.
But with all of that out of the way, let's, I guess, talk about where we've been, what we've been up to. Anything you want to add before we get started?
Listen to the whole episode and we'll tell you how to follow us personally afterwards.
Cool.
Yeah.
I dig it. So
how are you, Alex?
I am good. I am tired. I just got off work. I work 3rd shift in home health care. I don't know if I've mentioned that on a prior podcast, since it's kind of been new since we left off, but I work home health care, 3rd shift. Lots happened in the amount of time that we've dropped off the face of the earth for our podcast and then come back. So you moved to Florida.
That's a thing. I did that on purpose. Yeah. So
you go first.
Alex and I both lived in Tennessee, basically in the same city. You were in Johnson City, right?
Yes.
Is that where you were? Okay.
I'm still, yeah.
I'm not gonna like reveal all your stuff. It's like, and his social is, no, I'm not gonna do that. But it's just, so we both lived in East Tennessee. I got a job working for a really interesting organization to do, to work on social justice issues in Florida. And so I moved to Florida, in Central Florida. Really excited about that. But I just moved like 10 days ago. And so I'm just in Florida now. Like this room is Florida. Yeah. So moved, changed jobs, careers, really. It's a brand new career.
Yeah. I guess I'll tell you more about me too, because some crazy stuff happened. But on a personal note, I'm in school now. Yeah, I know. I'm in school to eventually get my ordination license to become a pastor for my local church.
That's us right now.
That's us.
Yeah. I'm learning a new job. You have a permit. You're about to get a holy license, you know?
Start marrying people.
Yeah, exactly. That's a thing.
Yeah.
And by the way, guys, just because he's a queer pastor doesn't mean that he's only going to do queer weddings. That's not
I mean, no, I'm kidding. It is just a wedding.
Yeah, it's just a wedding. Like I do think that like a queer wedding would be more fun. It sounds like there's like sparklers and skates, but like I don't like. But you can just call it a wedding. That's fine.
Yeah.
Guys.
Well, that's like this is totally off topic, but that's who we are. When people refer to Chris as my partner, I get a little offended because
really?
Yeah.
Interesting. Tell me why.
So it's not like offended in the sense of how dare you, but it's more of I fought so hard for us to get married that I want, he's my husband. I mean, legally everything. So it's like I do not want to, because partner has notoriously been used to be a lesser version of a partnership versus marriage in the queer community or around here, in my experience. And so when somebody says partner, it's like, oh, we don't have it. It's almost like you don't have the same equal footing as your heteronormative counterpart. And so
Thank
That's
you
why
so
I
much
don't
for
like it.
telling me that. I had no. I thank you for saying that. I had no idea. So my default has been to say partner because I know a lot of LGBTQ plus people
Hmm.
that will be life partners but will forego
Oh
the
yeah.
legal marriage aspect. And so like I kind of I kind of use partner the way straights use friend. Who's your friend? You know, just
It's your friend.
it's just like oh, that's not fair. That's not how I use it. It's more like you ever meet like a straight couple?
Yeah.
They're out there. They exist. I mean, they're more common nowadays than they used to be. You know, they're all over the place. And so that's so dumb. I'm sorry. Um,
I almost missed it. It's fine.
I that was stupid. Okay. So but no, like you're be a straight couple, but you don't know they're a couple, and you're just like, and you're like, who's your friend? Because you're giving them the chance to like
Okay, I got
review
you. My
the
girlfriend, or
yeah,
yeah,
who's this to you? Tell me what I'm supposed to say right now. I think I use partner for people that you can tell. For like queer folk the same way. It's just like,
yeah.
oh, is this your partner? It's like, oh, this is my husband. Oh, okay, your husband. Thank you for telling me. It's
Yeah,
like,
yeah, that's fine. I have no issue with that if somebody says, I guess I should explain. So if somebody
no. I think
says,
you did a great job, but go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead. Yeah.
well, I was just saying, like, if somebody says partner, I will automatically correct them. But I guess my offense or irritation comes in because it's so ingrained in the culture that you refer to a gay couple as partners. People will then continue to call partner after I've corrected.
I see. Kind of like a I'm sure this happens, so I'll just make a hypothetical.
Okay.
So like, for example, there's it's always an old biddy in my examples. I think I need to talk to my therapist about that. But it just so there's an old biddy who internally does not view gay marriage as marriage, right?
Sure. Yeah. Okay.
And sees it as adultery or whatever, right? Because that's a thing. People believe that.
Yeah.
Um, and so her use of partner is kind of like Southern passive aggressiveness.
Like, bless his heart.
Yeah, it's just like your husband, thank you for introducing me to your partner.
Yeah. Similar, but it's like some people don't even realize they're doing it. And
Oh,
like
okay.
other gay people do it too. And so it's not, I don't want to say it's inherently being homophobic. I don't want to say that. I just think it's so ingrained in our culture,
Mm.
especially in the South. Um, Maybe in the North. I don't know if anybody else, whoever's listening, let us know. But
Yeah. Comment.
yeah, let us know. But I don't know if it's just around here or whatever. But it's just almost like this blanket term they use for gay couples as being partners.
Interesting.
And it can be generational too, because I noticed it's more common in the older generation versus my generation. And I don't know. I just personally, if I tell you he's my husband and then you continue to call him partner, might be a little ticked off. I probably won't say anything to you, but it does. Yeah.
Now, okay, so for those of you that are listening in, if you don't know our dynamic, like we're both non-straight people.
Yeah. We should probably
Um,
say that.
yeah, like I'm not this. I pass like a mug, but I am a non-straight person. I play with the words. Like I'm not exclusively attracted to a heteronormative cis woman. That's not a thing for me. Like I'm attracted to women, but I'm also attracted outside of that standard heteronormative
Mhm.
structure. The words that make sense by definition for me, for like what I've
Mhm.
felt and experienced, have been bisexual is a word that makes sense to me. Pansexual makes sense to me.
Mhm.
And also queer as just kind of like this blanket statement makes a lot of sense to me for like how I now I am also in I'm I am married to a woman. My
Mhm.
wife is not straight either, but we are both in a monogamous marriage.
Yeah.
So I guess by definition that's a mixed orientation marriage technically. Um, I guess I mean if a guy and a girl like cis male cis female get together and they're both bi, is that still mixed orientation or is that not?
I would say it. I mean, you're not a straight couple because that would be like saying, okay, you married, let's say you're straight, right? That and you
I thought I
married
was
your
for a long time.
right. Okay, well, we'll pretend that you are for right now.
That's what
And
I've been
you
doing for a long time. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
and
Go
you
ahead.
marry a bisexual woman, that doesn't change her sexuality. She's still
Right.
bisexual.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say you guys are still in a you guys are if you're both bisexual, technically I don't know if it would be a mixed orientation, but just what do you guys consider yourself a queer couple? Like what
Yeah.
would you okay.
That's usually how
I
we.
say queer just for myself.
So do I, because like, and to be honest, I don't say queer for me. I say queer for the people that I'm talking to.
Yeah.
That because if I say more than that, I watch their eyes glaze over.
Yeah. Okay. I can say that. Yeah.
Yeah, you ever experienced that where it's just like
They
sometimes they'll
don't want
say
to dive deeper.
no, and but they also, and many times, bless their heart, they're so polite that they
Bless
will
their
stand
hearts.
there, bless their hearts. Um, they they're straight, bless their hearts,
We have
and
northern listeners, so let me just say this real quick. If
oh yeah, okay,
anybody
go ahead.
says bless your heart, it is not a compliment.
No, it is not.
Yeah.
It is condescension at the highest level. Like
Mhm.
it is the social equivalent of Spartan kicking you into a pit, but you
Well,
can do it in church. Like that's what it is.
okay, that's an extreme. Um, another another way that I've heard it sound is like, okay, so you see a mom and her new baby, and she's trying to introduce you to her new baby. It's like, oh look, isn't he cute? And he's the ugliest thing you've ever seen. You go, oh look at him, bless his heart. That means your baby is ugly.
That means he's ugly. Yeah, that's what that means. Like if you prompt a Southern person to say something and they replace whatever you were looking for with bless their heart, they don't agree with you and they will not tell you why.
No, they just want you to move on and just keep going. And I'm sorry, we have like I have ADD. I'm pretty sure you said you have ADD or ADHD. For those
There's
that are,
no chance I don't. There's
yeah.
no possibility.
Do you want to talk about what our lineup is going to be
I
before?
probably really should.
Yeah,
I probably really should.
we're really going to edit, so it's fine.
Okay,
Um,
great.
so for those that have stuck around to this point,
Yeah.
we're going to talk about the lineup and what to expect for this season and all that fun stuff. I personally, so we've actually had a lot of people reach out to us recently. They really want us to talk about the clobber passages. We've
Mm.
made blog
What are
pound.
the clobber passages, Alex?
Well, let me tell you. Um, so these are the
What do
verses
we
of
have for him, Alex? We have some
homophobia in door one.
ancient Near Eastern homophobia, Alex.
Yeah, there you
Oh, should
go.
have stuck with door two. Wah, wah.
Wah.
Okay, go ahead.
So clobber verses are verses that have notoriously been used in the Bible to bash LGBTQ plus individuals. And they range from the Sodom and Gomorrah story, the Leviticus 18:22. You've got First Corinthians, you got Jude, you got Romans that talk about it, all the fun things. And we'll dive into it about mistranslations. We can talk about when the English Bible first had the word homosexual in it, which was in 1946. They're making a movie about it. We'll talk about that later. And yeah, so that's the big thing. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 episodes that we can make just on the clobber verses or mesh them together. We'll just kind of see how it flows from there.
I'm very much in the let's leave each of them alone because well, can I explain why?
Yeah, go for it.
So okay, so often when we read the Bible, we forget that the word Bible itself actually means biblos, which means books, plural. Bible is a transliteration of the word of Latin. I believe it's Latin, biblos, which literally means books. And so it's not a book. The Bible is not a book. The Bible is a collection of poems,
Exactly. Yeah.
history, um, uh, stories. It even has some like fantasy elements and like the prophetic tendency there that should be taken
Symbolism, all that.
Yeah, and so when we there are certain some of those verses are in ancient law texts
Hmm.
for a specific time and place, and they're valuable, and we're not going to pretend they're not because they have a purpose for why they're there. But then there's other verses like the one in Jude that is not that is completely disconnected. It's the difference
It
between
is.
reading. Oh gosh, it's so different. It's like reading Mother Goose and then M. Night Shyamalan's movies and putting them side by side and go, and if they both say something similar, it's like same thing. It's all one
But it's
big.
not.
It's not at all. Like the authors didn't even know each other. Okay, like they didn't talk about it. So I'm in the camp of
He's
we
ready
could
to
do.
dive in now.
I'm not gonna do it. I promise. I promise. I promise. Um, I'm in the camp that we could do one on each of those. Um,
Totally.
and and the reason we're doing these is because queer Christian family values is still very much a testimonial space for Alex, and I suppose it's becoming one for me as well.
Yeah.
But we also know that there needs to be more resources out there for queer Christians, for
Hmm.
queer agnostics that would like the opportunity to explore Christianity, for affirming Christians, agnostics, atheists that would like to hear this perspective. And we want the season to be a resource. We want
Yeah.
it to be a place where you have not necessarily fuel for the arguments you want to win, but thoughts that you could explore about your faith.
Yeah. Education, exploration, all that fun stuff. We might
And
throw
the invitation, pass
an
the plate.
invitation. We might even do interviews in the season. We'll
What?
see. Yeah, I know. That'd be
Yeah, I guess we
fun.
can't talk about that technically until they say yes. But yeah, we're looking at some interviews.
Yeah. So you might see that sprinkled in. We already talked about that, but you mentioned you wanted to talk about hermeneutics.
Okay, so one of the things that I don't find convincing as someone who reads the Bible and
Mhm.
understands the Bible to the extent that I do, to simply say the Bible does not technically denounce something does not mean the Bible does affirm it.
Mhm.
And so some people will say, well, because of this, the Bible never technically addresses gay marriage. You know what? You're 100% correct. Anyone that says otherwise is wrong. You are right. But that doesn't mean the Bible affirms it by that argument. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally.
Now, I think that there are wonderful interpretive lenses that are entirely appropriate that you can use, that you can help be your lens to view the Bible that do actually affirm queer people, that affirm gay marriage,
Mhm.
that affirm gay Christians and gay clergy. I think that's a real thing that is very important. And sometimes, and you may not know this, listeners, in the LGBTQ plus community, there are people that find a way to be LGB affirming, but not trans. And there are
Yeah.
people that find a way to be trans affirming, but not LGB. We are both. We think that there is plenty of space theologically, hermeneutically, exegetically, and through interpretive skills and tools to be both LGB affirming and T affirming.
Yes. I would hope
Um,
so.
so, gotta talk to you, Alex. I don't know how I feel about bi people. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
It's my self-loathing. I'm talking to my therapist about it, but no, it's no.
Internalized biphobia.
That's a thing.
It is a thing.
That might be a thing that we could do this season. I don't know if we will or not. But like talk about the
Oh,
phobias, the like
another
internalized
thing.
phobias. Oh yeah, what? What's up? What's up?
I thought about it. Somebody else mentioned they wanted to talk about, or us to talk about purity culture.
Oh sweet baby Jesus in
That
a
could be
manger.
like an entire season, but whatever.
Can we just do a series called "What the 1940s and 50s Got Wrong"? Like an entire
Just a
thing.
WTF series.
Yeah, yeah. And you know what?
Or
I'll
she.
say this for people that think that being affirming of LGBTQ plus people as a Christian is mental gymnastics.
Yeah.
Wait till we introduce you to the interpretive tradition that led to homosexual being in your Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap. Like that's mental gymnastics. And I don't blame you. I get it. If you're listening and you're in that camp, I don't blame you. You're trying to be faithful to your Bible. I 110% respect that. I really do. However, your translators were not as faithful to the Bible as you're trying to be.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry. Let us show you a better way. Yeah, no, actually, I saw someone on TikTok who there's this nice girl who young girl who was choosing to try and tackle what's going on in Hebrews, not Hebrews, the book Leviticus in Hebrew. And there's this guy who came on and just tore apart unjustifiably, and he was half right, but he was half wrong, like the devil. And it in Hebrew, it actively avoids aging the male in that passage. There are plenty of tools that Hebrew has to say any male. Like it happens all the time when it talks about food in the Levitical standard, right? It's just like you cannot eat any shellfish. You cannot eat any. Like there's so many tools linguistically to suggest all of this thing, and Hebrew language goes into deep spaces to make sure that there's no room for error. But it didn't do it with this passage.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't do it. It ages and genders the woman. It ages and genders the first male, and actively avoids aging, but genders the second male.
Mm-hmm.
And to suggest that because it doesn't age, is suggesting all men is mental gymnastics. That's mental gymnastics. That's reading into the text something that's not there.
Yeah.
Now I will say, I think it's an appropriate possible interpretation to say that it could be all men. I think it's an appropriate thing you could do, but you don't have enough evidence to say that interpreting it otherwise would be wrong.
Yeah. So we are going to deep dive into all of that. But yeah, I mean, so that's the plan. We also want to kind of talk into Kingdom of God and like more. We're going to go away from not just LGBTQ specific spaces of understanding the Bible based on the outline that I have of our podcast episodes, but dive deeper into because last season we learned how to read Paul's letters, right? So we learned that. This season we're going to learn deeper into how to read Scripture in general, I think. And so it's going to be a wild ride, y'all, and a bunch of interviews with random people. Listen, we're over 2,100 followers on Instagram now. So we get people every day. And I mean, it's great. Scary, but it's great.
Like Alex Burchnell is about to be the Jeff Bezos of like queer Christian stuff, because he started in his garage, just tinkering around.
Didn't even have a garage.
Didn't even have a garage,
Yeah.
Like rags to riches story here, y'all.
Right. Be a Patreon sponsor so I can quit my job. No, I'm kidding.
No. Don't say you're kidding. Listen, y'all.
I'm completely serious.
If you're listening to this and you want to see someone dedicate all of their time to taking care and serving and loving the queer community, fund this podcast. But by funding this podcast, you're funding the blog. You're funding the ability for Alex to dedicate all of his time to this thing that he loves more than anything else. So, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous, but a lot of you love it enough to give him the space to do this long term. Just do it.
That's my new advertisement video. Just do it.
Yeah, just do it. Like love this enough to let him do this full time, because he will. He's crazy. He works his tail off. So okay, so this upcoming season, what we're going to do is we are going to address the clobber passages. We're also going to potentially have some really interesting interviews in there, but we're also just going to set some foundational theology, some foundational Christian theology. And here's why. A lot of us that find ourselves in spaces like this one are actively deconstructing our faith from what we've learned. And there are some things that you are deconstructing that should never be built back up because God didn't want those monuments to evil empire and to white supremacy and to homophobia built in the first place.
Boom.
Those things, it's just like so some of those things don't need to be reconstructed. They only need to be deconstructed. But nature abhors a vacuum. There are things that are worth knowing from the Bible and from early Christian theology that I think you deserve to know. And I want to give you a chance to revisit your faith or explore what this faith could be for someone as a queer or affirming person.
That's great. Honestly, I think that if we're going to end anywhere, this is where it's going to end.
This is the space? Okay, cool.
Yeah, this is the space.
All right. Hey, Alex Burchnell, if people want to hear more from you, where can they follow you?
Hey, Andrew Cox, people can follow me at Mr. Alex Burchnell on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. I technically have a TikTok, but I don't use it. So don't follow me there. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Mr. Alex Burchnell. My last name is spelled Burchnell. And what about you, Andrew? Where can people follow you?
Great question. I'm looking them up right now. Okay, so I have Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, and TikTok. I don't really use my Twitter just because I'm not good at it. So
same.
My Instagram and TikTok are my full name with my middle name, Andrew Harrison Cox. That's Andrew spelled the way you spell Andrew, Harrison Cox, COX. It's neither plural nor phallic. There's an X at the end instead.
I need you to put that in your bio.
It's COX. It's neither plural nor phallic. Yes, I can do that. Okay, so that's my name, and that's how you find me. Also, my full name with spaces for Facebook. So Andrew Harrison Cox. That's how you find me on Instagram. That's how you find me on TikTok. That's how you find me on Facebook.
Thank you for listening to Queer Christian Family Values podcast with your host, Alex Burchnell, and
I'm Andrew Cox.
We appreciate you listening, and we hope you have a blessed day.
Bye.
Bye. Woo!